SQL Server check constant. The check constant, like primary key constant or foreign key constant, it has a specific ability which is used to limit the value range that can be placed in a column. So, if you define a check constant on a single column, it can allow only certain values for this column. And if you define a check constant on a table, it can limit the values in certain columns based on values in other columns in the row. So let's start with some examples here. I'm going to create a new table called persons with ID, last name, first name, age as the column names. So let's select all data. So these are the four columns, and I'm going to refresh it to see how the table is created. Yes, here it is. Persons is by default added to this schema DBO. If you don't specify any schema, it is added to the DBO schema. These are the four columns you added. No keys, no constants. Okay, sorry. I have also mentioned the check constant here. I forgot to mention it. So age is a new column which is able to take only integer type of value, and a check constant is imposed. What is this check constant or limitation? That the age column is only able to accept the value that is equal to 18 or greater than 18. Anything less than 18 is not allowed. So let's see how this works with the insertion of values. So let's try to insert some data into it. So 1, L1, F1 and 20 I'm going to enter. So let's see. Yes, it's executed successfully. So now I have this. Well, let's say I will try to insert another one row. So ID is one, last name, first name. Then age I'm entering, which is less than 18. So is it going to accept it? No, because the conflict arises due to the check constant. Due to check constant. That is why you are having this error. If you want to see now, you will have only one row for this one. So in order to accept another one row or enter another one row, you need to change this 16 to some value of age which is greater than or equal to 18. If I'll try to enter 18, it will be successfully able to do that. Yes, it's now entered. Now see, what do we have? Yes, it's entered successfully. Let me change the value so that I will save it. Now I'll be creating another one table, that is persons one with ID, last name, first name, age, city, and a check constant is imposed named as CHK person, and it is comprising of two columns, age greater than equal to 18 and city equals sadness. So if these two values are true while I'm entering data, then only I'll be able to enter data into the table based on the check constant. So yes, okay, it's already created. I need to refresh it to see it. So DBO person is created, person one is created with all the attribute or the column values, and CHK underscore person is also created with the given conditions for check constant. So suppose say for first column I will try to insert ID, last name, first name, age as 18 and city as sadness. So it is satisfying my condition for check constant. That is why I'm able to see that. So let's see what data we have in person one. Okay, whatever I entered, it's there. Now I'll try to insert one, that is ID, last name, first name, age which is less than 17, and sadness. So will it work? No, because there is one conflict with the check constant, as the 17 is not greater than or equal to the age. 18. Okay, because of this condition, you have this error. So will you be able to enter everything still remains same, but in case of sadness, will I be able to enter other value? Again, it gives the same thing because city name is not equal to sadness. Okay, got it. Now let's see what data we have in persons one. Only one row. So let's try one thing. Suppose I need to add a check constant into the persons table. Let's see again what attributes do we have, other keys or constraints do we have. Okay, so we have a constant age imposed on the age, which is greater than equal to 18. So will I be able to alter the table of persons table, adding a new check constant ID of greater than equal to 18? So actually what happens, it gives a conflict due to the check person's ID. Okay, because the it's not possible and a conflict occurs in the column ID that I'm trying to add data into it. So let's see what do we have here. So I'm trying to add a new constant for ID that is greater than equal to 18. Actually, why that conflict occurs? Because already in ID value I have one as data which are not greater than and not equal to 18. Due to that reason you are having this error. So in order to impose this take constant, I should be able to delete all my data which has id greater than equal to 18, sorry, id neither greater than nor equal to 18, to be deleted from the table. So let's delete that. Two rows affected. Let's try to get it. So now I don't have anything in the table. So let's see, will I be able to impose that constraint? Yes, that constraint is imposed. Refresh it to see. Here the ID constraint is being imposed. That is CK person's ID and the ID name. Now let's try to insert data into the table. So here I'm trying to enter the ID value as 1. So will it be able to insert it? No, because I have imposed the check constant. So let's do one thing. So if I'll try to insert another value, 18. Next I will enter 21. Will it be able to take it? No. Okay, so age should be greater than 18. That's what I have. Let's make it 22. Yeah, it should work now, and it worked properly also. Now, how to drop a constant from the person one table? So to drop the constraint, you need to go to the person's table organization here, person one. So it has a constant chk person with the age and the city value, some value imposed to it to check the value of city and age. So to drop that, let's see whether I'm able to do it. Yes, the constant is being removed. If you'll try to fetch it again, you won't be able to see the constraints those are being applicable. Yes, they are deleted. Now, if you want to insert any data into it, irrespective of the constant you have applied, yes, you are able to do that. Last you have entered, the age should be equal to greater than equal to 18, cities would be sadness. But now you tried something random, 18 and LAS for the city name, and it took it successfully. And now you have this data in here. So this is all about your check constraint.